Spanish double. Esperanza Marquez, Nuria Dominguez. Esperanza may be the name of the game for them. Away first, Germany. Seedings in operation, so Sweden and Germany, in theory, are the two favoured doubles here.
Yes, and I think there's not a great deal to go on here. A lot of experience, as you said, Gerald, in the German combination. There's a rule here that in rowing that if you compete for a World Championships for one nation, you can actually change nationality and row for another. You can marry, for example, another foreign national, but you can't if you've competed in Olympic Games. From now onwards, she'll be limited. Also, will be limited to rowing for Germany.
Well, she's had 2 years in lightweight singles, 3 years in lightweight doubles, and she's been a finalist every time, never finished worse than 5th. Michelle Darville, the bow woman for Germany. They're in lane 4, setting the pace. Australia in second.
Another factor is the sort of internationalization of rowing technique. 15, 20 years ago, you were very different styles being employed, and you could observe that. Now, there is more or less common agreement about the technique that's all being employed, so it's actually relatively easier to move from crew to crew, even from nation to nation.
Has a German husband, but continues to row under her maiden name. Lives in Hanover. Green vests of Australia. Virginia Lee and Rebecca Joyce. Not seeded, but maybe with a point to prove.
No, I don't think there'll be a pull boat. Nothing's coming out of this Australian team at the moment, which isn't of a very good standard. I think they're going to be in the hunt here.
We're just marginally in second to Germany at the 500-metre point. There is to us Germany, top of the picture, Australia. Between them, Sweden. The official timings at 500 metres. It's less than the length covering the first 3. Bow of the Swedish shell.
In terms of boat speed, that time 150, it's about the same as a men's single. You know, the weight factor is quite an important one for in the women's lightweight event, because they're only around the 9 stone mark. They aren't able to produce as much power as the open category. It's more pronounced in the women because the weight differential seems to be greater. The weight limit for the women has been set low at around 9 stone. The relative lightweight level for the men is 11.5 stone.
Our position up near the finish is to a degree sheltered, but I've just been looking across at the flags on the other side of the course, and the breeze is still as strong as you would want it.
Yes, we may get a chance to have a look if the camera boat comes up behind. We can see what angle these boats are lying. It tends to happen with the crosswind as the boats start to come up into the wind. They're sort of crabbing slightly down the lane, and one of the skills of the scullers is to keep it going in a straight line while the boat itself is slightly at an angle.
Sport's not as easy as it looks, Chris, is it?
No, it's not, and you know, you don't spend hours and hours, you know, in these boats trying to get your technique perfect to make it look easy. And anyone who's tried rowing, and you were pointing out the vast majority don't realise how extremely difficult it is. We've got to think in terms of these athletes sitting on a platform which is less than a foot wide.
Australia, Germany, Sweden was the order at halfway, 1,000 metres. Those two will decide which goes through directly to the semi-final.
You know, these boats have no keel. It's like a sort of greasy pole. It wants to slide around underneath you. So the important thing is that the synchronization has got to be got right to start with. And it isn't just a question of putting the oars, the sculls in this case, into the water together. You've actually got to pick the water up together with great precision, and one of the problems with that is identifying athletes who do it naturally the same way. we see quite often examples of brothers or sisters sculling together because physiologically they tend to be very well matched.
As indeed with the Swedes here.
Yes.
But how easy did you find it to get a partner?
Well, I was extremely lucky, and I just sort of fell into a partnership. We happened to have two very fast scullers with me when I was at university, and it worked. Subsequently, I tried to build other partnerships and found out how very difficult it was. At the time, I just hadn't appreciated how lucky I was to go and find Mike Hart, if you like, when we were at Cambridge. And it just worked more or less in the beginning, and that is often the way. Doubles work or they don't. And we're gradually learning more from the scientific point of view as to how to identify these combinations and pairs. But we know, Gerald, you've seen it over the years, how many brother-type combinations there are. We've seen it today in the doubles here, the Swiss doubles and the lightweight men, they're brothers. And you start with a big advantage if your physiology is right.
Well, we've certainly got a good double here for Australia. Clear water now, and that is a clear indication of how this heat is going to finish.
Yes, I think it's very regal. Everyone else, as you can see from the pace has come off, they're just accepting their position.
Well, it's a very sensible decision, really, isn't it? That once you know you're not going to win the heat and qualify, you know you've got to go again in 48 hours and hope to produce an effort there that will get you into a semi-final 48 hours after that. There's no point then in overexertion once the race is decided.
The second time is the crucial one, meaning if you don't get another chance after that. The only issue here is that the way the repechage is drawn, it does pay to finish higher because they draw them from effectively one from each level. So if you finish second in this heat, you will probably not meet anyone else who came second, which is could be crucial when it comes to the last places for qualification.
Still have to see in action the Canadian double, who will be hot favourites to win the gold medals.
They've been impressive, the Australians. This is the Germans who have obviously decided they're going to keep their powder dry. Seen a good exhibition of sculling from this Australian double. Good length, draw it right back. I hope they'll do well when it comes to the final.
Yes, there was a moment when the shot was across them and the Swedes, and the contrast was notable. Much more effort from the Swedes, much more relaxed from the Australians. So here they come home. Just a handful of strokes now will take them over the line and into the semi-final. Thank you very much. It's impressive. That's a big margin now. But not too much to be read into that, because the race had been decided before 1,500 metres. Australia then.